Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Nabila binti Roslan. My metric number 25DDT 20F1002.
My name is Tengku Nur Atika binti Tengku Sharifuddin. My matrix number is 25DDT 20F1014.
Today I want to present PPT1 operating system. So this is the difference Windows 10 and Ubuntu. So explore the Ubuntu and then discuss the difference between Ubuntu and Windows according to default software or application provided. So different for developer, Ubuntu was developed by Canonical, which belong to a Linux family. The Microsoft 10 is the Windows 10 is developed by Microsoft. So the browser, Ubuntu use Mozilla Firefox as browser. The Windows use Microsoft Edge as browser. So email application, Ubuntu use Thunderbird Mail and Windows use Mail. So as family, Ubuntu use Linux family and Windows 10 use Windows NT family.
This is different between Ubuntu and Windows. First, Ubuntu was developed by Canonical, which belong to a Linux family, while Windows 10 is developed by Microsoft. Ubuntu is completely free and available as open source, while one needs to pay for Windows. Ubuntu Desktop OS can also work as server, but Windows Desktop OS does not support this server. Ubuntu supports multiple desktop environments, while Windows does not. Ubuntu installation is quite complex process, while Windows OS installation is very simple. And lastly, Ubuntu browsing is faster than Windows 10.
So this is the application in Ubuntu. First, Mozilla Firefox, Thunderbird Mail, Ubuntu Software, LibreOffice Writer, and Freedom Box.
This is application in Windows. There is Mail, Maps, Groove Music, Photos, and Microsoft Edge.
So this is the desktop environment. So different username. Ubuntu use GNU and Windows use Windows NT or NET. So default user interface. Ubuntu Genome, Ubuntu Unity. Windows Shell. So graphic. Ubuntu USVG 3D. Build release LLVM. So Windows use Intel R UHD graphic 600.
Okay, first, desktop environment in Ubuntu, which is Genome Shell. This session is based on Genome Shell and Matter, which is Windows Manager. It is default and offers a mobile-like paradigm for launching application and accessing open Windows and virtual desktop, but through the use of extension, it is possible for the appearance to be that of traditional taskbar and provide a basic start menu. This session uses more RAM and CPU due to use of JavaScript for Genome Shell and all of its extension and requiring 3D acceleration. Genome Shell is its default graphical shell of Genome. It features a top bar holding from left to right, an activities button, an application menu, a clock, and integrated system status menu. The application menu displays the name of application in focus and provides access to functions such as accessing the application's preference, closing the application, or creating a new application window. And lastly, the status menu holds various system status indicators, shortcuts to system setting, and session action, including logging out, switching users, locking the screen, and suspending the computer.
So this is the desktop environment in Windows Shell. So the first point is the Windows Shell is the graphical user interface for the Microsoft Windows operating system. Its readily identifiable elements consist of the desktop, the taskbar, the task start menu, the task switcher, and the autoplay feature. The second point, on some versions of Windows, it also includes Flip 3D and the chunks. In Windows 10, the Windows Shell experience host interface drive visual like the Start menu, Action Center, Taskbar, and Task View timeline. The Windows Shell also implements a shell namespace that enables computer program running on Windows to access computer resources via the hierarchy of shell objects. Desktop is the top object of the hierarchy. Below it, there are a number of files and folders stored on the disk, as well as a number of special folders whose contents are either visual or dynamically created. The fourth point is recycle bin, libraries, control panel, disk PC, and network are examples of such shell objects. The fifth point, the Windows shell as it is known today, is an evolution of what began with Windows 65, released in 1995. The last point is intimately identified with File Explorer, a window component that can browse the whole shared namespace.
This is main file structure. The comparison between Windows and Ubuntu. First, for file system, in Windows, Windows uses different data drive like CDE to store files and folders. Ubuntu in Unix Linux use a tree like a hierarchical file system. Type of file for Windows. These files are a warehouse for other file types. Can have a directory file within a directory which is subdirectory. Also can take them as a folder found in Windows operating system. For Ubuntu, general files also called as ordinary file. They can contain image, video, program, or simply text. They can be an exe2 or a binary format. These are the most commonly used files by Linux users. For device file, in MS Windows, devices like printer, CD-ROM, and hard drive are represented as drive letters like GH for Windows, and for Ubuntu, in Linux, they are represented as file. The user. For Windows administrators, users have all administrative privilege of computer. For Ubuntu, root user is the super user and has all administrative privilege. For user account, for Windows, there are 4 types of user account, which is administrator, standard, check, and guest. For Ubuntu, there are 3 types of user account, which is regular, root, and service account. For file name convention, in Windows cannot have 2 files with the same name in the same folder. In Linux, can have 2 files with the same name in the same directory, provided there are different cases. And lastly, home directory. In Windows, my document in default home directory. And for Ubuntu, for every user or home, username directory is created which is called his home directory.
The first is a general tree file system on your Unix may look like this. For the root, first is etc, bin, usr, tmt, and dev. In Windows, you cannot have 2 files with the same name in the same folder. See below. So while in Linux, you can have files with the same name in the same directory, provided they use different keys. These are more striking differences between Linux and other operating systems. There are more variations you will observe when switching to Linux, and we will discuss them as we move along in our tutorial.
This is sharing process from Windows to Ubuntu and vice versa, using a share with network folder. Step 1. From the start menu, open the system setting, which is alternatively, you can open the system setting by pressing the Windows +1 key. Step 2. Click on the network and internet option. Step 3. Under the change your network setting, click on the sharing option.
So step 4, make sure that network discovery and file and printing sharing option are turned on. Step 5, now navigate to the folder that you want to share with Ubuntu, right click on it and select properties.
Step 6, on the sharing tab, click the advanced sharing button. And step 7, select the share this folder option and then click the permissions button to proceed.
So step 8, set the permission, give all permission, break, change, full change to share the folder, to transfer the file from Windows to Ubuntu or vice versa. then click the apply button to proceed. Step 9. Now on to proceed, Ubuntu open the file, then click on other location.
Step 10. Type the following command in the search bar next to the connect to server and then click on the connect button. Step 11. A password required for share folder on xxx.xxx.xxx.xxx. Prompt will appear on the screen. Now authenticate your identifier.
So step 12, select check the register user option and type your username and password of your Windows PC, then click on the connect button to proceed. Step 13, now you will be able to access all the file and folder that are available in the share folder, and you can work on it, save it, and even transfer the files between Windows 10, PC, Ubuntu, or vice versa with the help of this share folder. So that's all. Thank you.